red light therapy. I've also got a rebounder. I've also got an infrared sauna, and I have a cold plunge. And I top everything off with 12 minutes of stretching. So listen, bro, that was a lot right there. And that was developed over years, putting one thing in at a time. That wasn't all day one. But now my morning routine can take me anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours. But it's time that I am able and willing to dedicate because it is how I start my day.
Welcome to the Miracle Plant Podcast, the show that inspires, promotes, and gives you a daily dose of inspiration from the people who have used cannabis to change their lives in extraordinary ways. Here's your host, Justin Benton.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Miracle Plant Podcast, where we discuss this extraordinary plant with so many names and how it helps people out in such amazing ways. Today, we have an incredible guest on that is just the absolute #1 podcast for businesses and entrepreneurs, John-lee-Dumas. It's an interview that we just did, and he dropped some value bombs that you have to hear to believe. He gets over 1 million downloads a month. He's made over $20 million on a podcast for his Entrepreneurs on Fire. So we're going to have a very special interview. It actually is part 1 of 2 interviews that we're going to have. It's short and sweet. Get ready, get your pens out, get your notepads out, and you're going to want to write this stuff down because he figured out a way to he actually did 16 podcasts in one day. And he went from in 2014 to zero income to, like I said, doing over $20 million with a podcast. And he's willing to share the secrets and share how he was able to do it, to have the energy, to have the stamina, to have the fortitude and everything that it takes to create such an empire with his Entrepreneurs on Podcast Fire. So with no further ado, Jamie, let's fire up that interview and let's hear how he did it. And I can't wait for everyone to hear.
Boom, shake the room. JLD is in the house, the leader of Fire Nation, everybody. Welcome, John-lee-Dumas. How the heck are you, brother?
Doing good down here in Puerto Rico, but, with raw relief roll-on, how can I not?
That's what I'm talking about. The power of the raw.
I was not paid to say that.
I love it, man. I love that I got down there, and I'd love to get into Puerto Rico with you a little bit because I am so curious about that Act 20 bill that's going on down there. But first, I want to give you a little intro, brother. You are the author of the best-selling Common Path to Uncommon Success book, creator of my favorite journal out there, this Mastery Journal over here, which I just love and use every day, and also the #1 daily podcast of over 3,000 of the most successful entrepreneurs around the world, Entrepreneurs on Fire. So excited to have you here and share your insights with our crowd, with our audience. And yeah, man. So how's the weather right now down there in Puerto Rico?
It's perfect. It is absolutely paradise. Once you live down here for a little while, you acclimate to the humidity, which isn't terrible, but it is humid down here. And then life is good. I mean, you just get to see the sun every day. Vitamin D is amazing. And yeah, life's good.
Love it. So obviously you have the #1 podcast for business entrepreneurs, interviewed over 3,000, had all these value bombs dropped, and you put together this incredible book that I've had a chance to read a few times over and definitely implement and encourage everybody to run out there and make sure you get that book. And, but what would you say was kind of that one secret that most people might disagree with, kind of throwing a question back at you, to keep your stamina up and your energy up, to be able to push through and have the most successful business entrepreneur podcast in the world?
You've got to have a combination. The combination has to be passion and skills. You need to have both. Like, you want to enjoy the thing that you're doing, but you also have to be adding value to the world and to be good at that thing. Most people have one or the other. They're either really passionate about something, but they're not that good at it. So it's kind of like a hobby, or like they're just like really good at it and they have a lot of skills, but there's no passion there. So they get burned out quickly because, like, why the heck do they want to keep doing this thing they don't really enjoy doing? You've got to have both. I've always had both when it comes to interviewing business owners and entrepreneurs. I just enjoy the conversations. I love the back and forth. I'm still curious. 10 years, 3,000 interviews later, 100 million total listens. I still look forward to those conversations because they're fun and I learn and I get to implement and it's enjoyable. So that's the deadly combination.
Love it, brother. Love it. Well, I just was listening to a recent podcast of yours, Entrepreneurs on Fire, June 29th. You were interviewing the owner of Samcart. And I thought the value bomb that really got me was 5 testimonials on your landing and sales page contributed to an 81% higher conversion. I immediately went out there and put 5 testimonials.
Yeah. And let me tell you, let me one up that right now.
Yeah.
Make those 5 testimonials video, 30 seconds or less with a diverse crowd. So that's your next step, is get them as videos, get them under 30 seconds. You have to be under 30 seconds and it has to be diverse. There's got to be an old woman, a younger man, and there's got to be diversity within it. People have to be able to see themselves within this testimonial. Just words on a page aren't nearly as valuable as the actual video side of things. So that's your next process.
Love it. Taking it next level. Love it. So one of the things I love most about your book, actually the journal, the Mastery Journal, is that you really break down your morning routine and you give examples, because I'm one of those people that you can kind of teach me something, but once I see a template, then I can kind of model it and be like, okay, that's what that means. And, oh, that's a good idea. Or I do something similar to that. I know a lot of people out there, and we're talking to a lot of people that have had health issues with pain, anxiety, sleep, those types of things. And, some of the hacks, if you will, that I've seen over the years is that, morning routine. And I know you probably have a pretty solid, routine every morning. Do you care to share that with the audience with you?
Yeah, it's critical. So first off, your morning routine starts the night before. It's by going to bed at a reasonable hour, a consistent hour. For me, that's between 9 and 9:30. And yes, that sounds early for some people, but hey, I get up early. So I'm in bed, I'm reading, I'm falling asleep, hopefully before 9:30 with my Oura ring on. So that when I wake up in the morning, I can check my sleep score and I can see what's working, what's not, what's my deep sleep, what's my REM sleep, what's my overall sleep score with my Oura ring, what was my HRV, my heart rate variability, what was my heart rate. And then I wake up and I can start to say, okay, like, why was my sleep bad? I can kind of identify why it might've been bad through various reasons, and then try to consistently improve upon that. Maybe I drank too much water before bed. Maybe I ate too close to going to sleep, blah, blah, blah. There's caffeine too late in the day. And then I'm up, again, always improving with that morning routine. And I am outdoors. I'm walking my dog in the blue sky, in the sun, getting my cortisol levels going, getting the blood flowing, taking my dog for a walk, coming back. Then I am into my gym doing weights. I have a virtual trainer that I work out with 3 days per week. I'm on my Peloton 3 days per week for some extra sprint cardio. I have a red light therapy. I've also got a rebounder. I've also got an infrared sauna, and I have a cold plunge. And I top everything off with 12 minutes of stretching. So listen, bro, that was a lot right there. And that was developed over years, putting one thing in at a time. That wasn't all day one. But now my morning routine can take me anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours. But it's time that I am able and willing to dedicate, because it is how I start my day.
And there you have it. How incredible is that? So right then and there, John-lee-Dumas, he lives in Puerto Rico. I used to live in the Dominican Republic. And when you live in the Caribbean, you just have these like rolling blackouts. So right at that moment, he had a massive blackout in Puerto Rico. And so we waited for a few minutes to see if he'd come back up, but he was like, off the radar, off the grid for, I don't know, like 12 hours. So we got back in touch with him. We're going to bring him back on next week and finish up that interview. But I thought it was a really great just segment to focus on, which really came down to morning routine. Like all of the research that I've done, all of the entrepreneurs, the influencers, the successful people that I've come across and studied and have been my mentors over the decades, there's that one always kept coming back up to me, which is morning routine. And I think that, as Aristotle said, you are what you repeatedly do. That's one of those secrets, those routines that you constantly do. And so I thought it was a really great topic to talk about today, which is the morning routine. So for me, a morning routine consists of, getting up at a certain time. And like John-lee Dumas talked about, that meant going to bed at a certain time so you can get that full good night's sleep. There's no better way for your body and brain to heal than sleep, period, point blank. That's when those batteries are getting recharged. And then when you get up in the morning, you get up. There's no such thing as a snooze button. You jump out of bed. If that means you have to sleep in your workout clothes or have your shoes by your bed, it is up and it is out. You got to get moving. You got to get rolling. Whether it's, for me, it's jumping on the Peloton or cruising down to the gym. Whatever it is, I am up and I am out. Then it's also, for me, it's like you got to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with positive energy, positive people, whether that's a podcast like this or whether it's listening to audiobooks or things that surround you. I know other people for mindfulness also use meditation, and that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But these are the things that we see every day. And of course, there's hydration and nutrition to start your day. And there's these just absolute proven things that when you look for all the successful people in life, and it doesn't just mean money, but it means people that are wealthy in health, wealthy in spirit, wealthy, financially as well. These routines are the things that I see over and over and over and over for you to sustain it. Like they say, anybody can get rich once. Anyone can get lucky once, but to sustain it and to build wealth and to build a life and a lifestyle, it takes repetition. It takes consistency. And the morning routine is an absolute no-brainer. I haven't come across anybody, not a single person, who's been consistently on top of their game that doesn't have a consistent morning routine. So I wanted to open that up. I know my mom would love to chime in. Janet Benton Gaylord is on here with us as well. And Mike, if you want to come up, or Nadia, feel free to raise your hand. And we're going to discuss morning routines and how important they are, and what we do in our morning routines, how it helps get the rest of our day set up for success.
No, I really love the morning routine, and my favorite part of what he said was the night before. And so lately I've been focusing a lot on sleep and the importance of sleep. And so the idea that he goes to bed early. So again, morning routine starts by getting enough sleep. And I like the idea of the earlier sleep. There's a famous saying that you get twice the benefits for every hour of sleep you get before midnight than you do after midnight. And there's actually the science to back that up. And so I thought that was excellent. And then the other thing too is sleep is so critical to be able to have the energy and your alertness in your mind, being able to be creative the next day. I like that he had a method of checking his sleep. And I personally also recommend that. I use a Garmin Vivo. And so it tells you exactly how many minutes did you get of deep sleep, light sleep, how many times did you wake up, how much REM sleep. Also tracks your heart rate and your energy levels. And truly, I'm a data person, but it didn't tell you, oh, you're doing great, or you need to adjust something. Just like he said, did you eat too late? Did you eat bad food yesterday? Did you have a drink? Did you have a candy bar? Or did you get too stressed out? So again, to me, to be at that ultimate level that he's at, where you are just at the top of your game, month after month, year after year, I find sleep as a very base of that morning routine. So I was very impressed that he's very focused on that and focused on measuring his sleep and the aspects of his sleep and ways to then adapt and improve that. And then also, I just love the idea of just getting up and getting outside. And that's another thing that's just huge for our body. So, just like I say, it was a short thing, too bad about the electricity. But he said so many things just in that short interview that I wrote down that I'll have to be going back over and over to learn from it. So, excellent interview. Very impressed to have him on.
Absolutely, yeah. We were excited to have him on, and I'll be connecting with him later on at Funnel Hacking Live, which is an event put on by Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. He's actually one of the speakers, and he's picking up the game of golf. And so I'm helping another soul find the wonderful outdoor game of golf and helping him pick some clubs out and things like that. But we'll get a chance to hang out a little bit more, and we're going to bring him back next week. And we'll have that interview on Clubhouse again next Saturday at 10 a.m. to continue to go down the rabbit hole of success and health secrets and energy hacks, and how to really be on top of your games. So make sure to stay tuned for that, because that'll be coming up as well. So Mike, I saw you're on stage. I know you recently launched a podcast. I'd love to hear how you're doing and your your morning routine hacks and what you thought of the interview with John Lee Dumas. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, my friend. So you will get a kick out of this. So John is actually why I changed my sleep schedule. He actually talks about Sean Stevenson's book, Sleep Smarter. And I know you and I had talked about probably 6 months ago that I was concerned about Parkinson's because of tremors in my left hand. And for me, it was top of mind because my mother-in-law is going through the beginning stages of that right now. So the interesting thing that I found in pushing through and getting to sleep is the sleep helps to keep those tremors down or manageable. But I also discovered that with those tremors, they're related to muscular irritation for my hand from an injury 25 years ago. So how John talks about your health, just being vital and investing in it and all the stuff he's doing 90 to, 120 minutes a day, dude, that's so key. 2 months ago, one thing you may want to touch on him with in your follow-up interview is when he went to California for a 10-day water fast. Man, the impact that it had on him, and he's in such a better place than I am or the average person. But no, John's just a seller guy, very invested in his life and Kate's and living the best life they can. So you've got a top-notch guest, man. His insight and input is just stellar. So hats off to you, my friend. And on the podcast, man, whereas I would have played small before, just stepping out in courage in a different area. And a lot of that comes from being able to have the mental and emotional space because I'm better rested and in better health. So, and I appreciate the 101 CBD products as well, because they help me to chill out and, get ready for bed after I'm been crushing it during the day. So I appreciate you having that product available and man, hats off to you, my friend.
Well, it's great to see you, and hats off to you. And I know there's a lot of preparation in launching your podcast, and I've been following it and look forward to you just keep doing your thing. And once again, you and I met on Clubhouse on the platform right now. We're recording, broadcasting the Miracle Plant podcast. And, it's just been an amazing platform for us to be able to connect and collaborate and meet new people and spread our mission and stories and learn from each other and collaborate. So happy to have you on stage and love that the products are helping out. And it was funny at the beginning there. There's also a video version of this, and there'll be some more video that comes out. John holds up the Raw Relief roll-on. And so he's been using it on his knee. I guess he's just had a little bit of irritation or inflammation after, jogging or whatever out there in Puerto Rico. And he loves the stuff. And so I'm happy he loves it, and I'm happy that it's working so well for you. And, that's all the part of figuring out these routines and figuring out these biohacks for our own individual bodies is what is going to allow our bodies to heal, to recover, to be optimal. And I love that we're having these discussions. Another thing that I really loved that he was touching on, with the morning routine was we were going to get into the journal. And I think that's one for me personally that's been really new. For whatever reason, it just wasn't a part of my daily life. And I kept seeing the journaling come up from different successful entrepreneurs and things of that nature. And so I got John's book. It's the Uncommon Path, or the Common Path to Uncommon Success, which was just released this year. It's this incredible 17 chapters, step by step. How do you go from the very beginning of figuring out your strengths and things you're passionate about, and walking you through your avatar, walking you through your content creation plan, walking you all the way through, I think even affiliate marketing. And he's got some really great nuggets at the very end of the book. And it's just a really good book. But when you signed up and got it, you also got his mastery journal. And it was included for free with when you got his book. And he tells a great story that he did some Kickstarter campaigns for some of his journals where he doesn't make things until it's been proven. So if 200 people or 300 people don't buy the book or the thing that he releases, he just refunds the money, or the course, the same thing. And so he did that with his journal, and I think it was his Freedom Journal, his first one, and he did like $400,000 in sales when he released the product. And his Mastery Journal is the one that I use, and I highly encourage everyone to try journaling. The Mastery Journal, it'll give you like 9 steps of what your morning routine looks like. And you literally write in what are the 9 steps and how long is it going to take you to do your routine, and when do you start and when do you stop, and when was the actual time you started and the actual time you stopped. And so you go through these things and you just kind of check these things off, because just so you can kind of see what works best for you. As you saw with John's really long morning routine, which was incredible, was at the end, he said it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen day one. I introduced one thing that either worked or didn't work, and either kept it or replaced it. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's called The Mastery Journal by John-lee-Dumas. I think they're $10 probably on Amazon or something, or just go directly to his website and get it. He's also got a couple other journals, but I just love that about it. And the other steps in his journal talks about, basically there's 4 main things that you're going to do in a day. And so you just figure out the 4 right things that you should be doing that are going to give you the right results. Because I know a lot of us entrepreneurs and a lot of us just struggle with, what should we be doing with our day? What are the things that are really going to move the needle for us and for our organizations? And so what he does is he basically has you write down these 4 main projects throughout the day, and then you time yourself 42 minutes on. So whatever it is you're doing, you pick an hour. So let's say 11 to 12. You do that thing for 42 minutes, and then you break. Set an egg timer or an alarm on your phone, and you stop. And that 18 minutes is recovery. You can do whatever you want, and you're just kind of like chilling out. And then you go through and you score yourself. How was my focus, and how was my attention to detail, and how good did I feel about the work that I just did? And you just score yourself on all these different things. So I've tried a lot of different journals as I've worked on incorporating that into my lifestyle. And John's is absolutely the top of the top. The other book that I do like, there's 2 journals that I do like and use, is Brandon Burchard's High Performance Habits journal. His is a little different, so I kind of use both. And his is great as well. And I recommend checking that one out for yourself. And it just asks you questions like, who do I need to be on top of my game for today? Who do I need to reach out to and say thanks and be grateful for? And if I was my own high performance coach, what kind of advice would I give myself? Just some really great thought-provoking questions. So between those 2 journals, those have been the ones that have worked best for me. And I know in part 2 of our interview, we'll definitely dive deeper into the journal aspect, and we'll have some more great questions. And I'll be sure to follow up with John-lee-Dumas on the water fasting, because I'm very fascinated by that. I've heard of the 5-day. I have not heard of the 10-day. So I'll look forward to hearing more about that. Before we wrap up, did you have anything else, Janet, you wanted to add?
Of course. No, I really enjoyed also in his very first statement about having passion and skill, and it's hard for people to have both of those. But there are a lot of people that still have passion and skill. So I kind of see his recommendations or things he's put together, like the habits and things like that, as kind of that bridge to organize yourself to express that passion and skill. And so I think he's not picking up how important the ideas he's talking about are, because even very skilled people with passion that are trying everything they can do, it helps to have some things like, oh, have a morning routine, oh, do journaling, oh, do this. And so I think that bridge he provides from that dream and that passion and that skill into actual action, I think that's an incredibly important piece that should be emphasized more. So I can't wait to get his book and start reading it.
Yeah, it's a really good book. And I know that he also has master classes and masterminds on podcasting. So if anyone's interested, we'll probably touch on that in the second part of the interview too as well. He's just an incredible guy. And because he's able to sit there and interview, the Tony Robbins, the Russell Brunsons, you name the entrepreneur, he's had them on. And when you sit there and you interview, you have access to all of their thoughts, and you have access to all of their patterns and all the things that work for them. And so he finally said, after interviewing 2,500 or 3,000 of them, I got all this information, I got to put pen to paper. And so he wrote the book, and the common path to uncommon success. So make sure to run out and grab that. So it's really been exciting to have him on, and I look forward to helping him out with his golf game and getting to learn more about him and collaborating on some projects in the future. So before we wrap up this podcast, we do it every podcast for the Miracle Plant. We always say, heal the world, because that's the mission here at the Miracle Plant, is to pay it forward for what this Miracle Plant has done for our families and to help another family, one family at a time. So everybody, we're going to send out that positive healing vibe. People out there that are looking for an answer to their prayers, that they hear this podcast, feel this energy, and they get to hear a story that changes their life forever. So on the count of 3, unmute your mics. We're going to say heal the world, because that's what this mission is all about. And I want to thank everybody for coming and listening and contributing. And, I want to thank as well Jamie for stepping in for the old man and helping out produce the show. And Janet, as always, my mom, for coming on. And Mike, it's great to hear from you and see you again. And on the count of 3, let's say heal the world, because that's what we're doing here at the Miracle Plant Podcast. Ready, everybody? 1, 2, 3.
Heal the world.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for listening. And we will see you next week on the Miracle Plant Podcast, where we talk with John-lee Dumas in part 2 of our interview. Thanks, everybody. See you real soon.